Good morning, I'm Duncan and you're watching Wake Up Well, the Welsh Sheffield's 3-minute daily devotional. It's Tuesday the 7th of April and we're continuing our series in the book of Proverbs. Today we're in chapter 7 and I want to just focus on the first 5 verses, so I'm going to read them out. My son, keep my words and store up my commands within you. Guard my commands and you will live. Guard my teachings as the apple of your eye. Bind them on your fingers and write them on the tablet of your heart. Say to wisdom, you're my sister, and to insight, you're my relative. They will keep you from the adulterous woman, from the wayward woman with her seductive words. This is the wisdom and the advice of King Solomon being passed on to his son. King Solomon must have been pretty sure of his wisdom, because he actually says to his son, look, if you allow these words, this wisdom, these commands, these thoughts of mine to affect your actions, he says, let it be bound to your fingers. In other words, to shape your actions. Let it be written on the tablets of your heart. Let this wisdom go to the heart of who you are, the very core of your being, and let it affect your motives. And when you do, it will keep you away from death. It will keep you away from the adulterous woman and her seductive words. Now, this could mean physically adultery. Nick talked about that a couple of days ago. But actually in the Old Testament, often when it talks about the adulterous woman, it's referring to anything which distracts us away from God's perfect plans for our lives and takes us away from pure devotion to God. I don't know about you, but when I was growing up, I got given all kinds of wisdom and advice from my friends, family, from my teachers, from my church leaders. Some of it was great advice. Some of it was pretty naff, to be honest. And that's part of growing up, is learning who to listen to and who not to listen to, or what words to not listen to. And I have found myself where I've landed in a place where I want to listen to the wisdom that comes from people whose lives reflect and prove that wisdom is true. Jesus himself said it in Matthew 11 verse 9 when he said, wisdom is proved right by her deeds. And we see Jesus as the ultimate example of that. He gave the most amazing wise teaching, but it wasn't just words, his life matched it. And if you look at the life of Jesus, that is a life that I want to emulate. And I hope that's something that you want to emulate too. He didn't just talk about humility, he showed us what a humble life looks like. And that is true wisdom. So I want to encourage you, where are you finding your wisdom? Ultimately, it needs to be in Jesus, but also we know that God speaks to us through other people. We live in quite an individual society, don't we, where we kind of figure things out for ourselves. But actually, there's real wisdom in listening to the words of people who've gone before us. We just have to learn to listen to the words of the right people whose lives display the reality of that wisdom lived out. So I want to encourage you, even in a season where we're perhaps in lockdown and we're not able to see people face to face, why don't you give someone who you honour and you recognise as living well for Jesus, why don't you give them a call and ask them their wisdom and their advice when you get stuck on stuff, or when you just need a little bit of a helping hand? And I can tell you, if you take their words to heart, even when you don't understand why it's good for you, it's the same with the word of God. Sometimes God asks us to do things or not to do things. And we don't like the idea of that because we want to do whatever feels good in the moment. But let the fruit of their lives and the fruit of their wisdom lived out be enough for us to say, even when it doesn't feel good, or even when I can't understand why that's helpful, I see the fruit of their lives and therefore I'm going to listen to what they say. And ultimately, I'm going to listen to what God says, the only true wise King. Bless you guys. Have a great day.